Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to lean in and listen closely because what I'm about to reveal is not just information. It is a truth that many choose to ignore. There are people living among us who wear the mask of humanity. Yet, they have stripped away everything that makes a soul truly human. These are not merely broken hearts or lost spirits. No, these are narcissists who have crossed the line into something darker, something colder, something frightening. And tonight I will share 6 signs that show a narcissist has stopped being human. The first sign is the loss of real empathy. A real human being feels the pain of another. We cry when others cry. We hurt when others hurt. This is what binds us together. But a narcissist who has moved beyond humanity doesn't truly feel. They only pretend. They act concerned. But it's all an empty show. Behind their eyes, there is no warmth, no acknowledgement of your suffering. To them, you are not a person. You are a mirror reflecting their own need for importance. The second sign is predatory manipulation. This is not just influence or persuasion. This is careful, calculated control. They watch people the way a wolf watches its prey. They find insecurities, weaknesses, and fears, and then they strike. Every word, every smile, every gesture becomes a weapon to bend someone to their will. By the time you realize you are not in a relationship, but in a trap, it is already too late. The third sign is pathological lying. For most of us, lying carries guilt or hesitation. Not for them. Lies are their lifeline. They bend reality so easily you start to question your own mind. They might tell you the sky isn't blue and convince you that thinking it was blue means you're crazy. Truth has no value in their world. Their only loyalty is to the illusion they create, and that illusion exists only for themselves. The fourth sign is emotional cannibalism. I don't use that word lightly. A narcissist feeds on the hope, energy, and joy of others. They drain your confidence, destroy your dreams, and consume your spirit until only a hollow shell remains. They don't just hurt hearts, they devour them. The more you give, the more they take until you are empty and they are full. The fifth sign is a total lack of conscience. Human beings are guided by an inner voice that says this is right, that is wrong. But when that voice goes silent, when betrayal brings no guilt, when cruelty leaves no trace, that is when the human element is gone. A narcissist without conscience can betray friends, destroy families, or abandon children without a second thought. Witnessing that is chilling. The sixth and final sign is the dehumanization of others. When a narcissist no longer sees people as humans, but as objects, the transformation is complete to them. You are useful or disposable. That's it. They measure your worth by what you give them, and the moment your usefulness ends, so does their interest. You are not a friend, a partner, or even a stranger. You are a thing, and that is the clearest proof they are no longer human. Remember these 6 signs. Remember them because awareness is protection. A narcissist may appear as a friend, a lover, a leader, but behind the mask is something dangerous, empty, and inhuman. If you notice these signs, protect your heart, guard your mind, and never forget your soul belongs to you, not them. When a narcissist loses the ability to feel real empathy, it marks one of the most disturbing transformations a human can endure. Empathy is not just a feeling. It is the bridge connecting one heart to another. It allows us to understand pain, to share joy, to care for others. When that bridge is cut, what remains may look human, but it no longer functions as one. On the surface, a narcissist may seem to show care. They may nod, offer comforting words, or even shed a tear, but it is all an act, a performance meant to maintain control or manipulate perception. If you look closely, the cold emptiness behind their eyes reveals the truth. They are not feeling with you, they are using you. Genuine empathy means putting yourself in another's shoes, feeling their pain, and having a sense of responsibility toward them. The narcissist who has crossed the line cannot do this. Your pain is ignored, your joy dismissed, your suffering twisted to make them feel superior. Instead of offering support when you are weak, they observe, storing your vulnerability like ammunition for later. That inversion of care is terrifying. Emotions become tools. Empathy becomes an illusion, and kindness is just a script acted out when convenient. Victims often feel invisible, like their cries are unheard and their needs invalid. To the narcissist, others exist only as mirrors reflecting their own importance, not as real human beings. Over time, this lack of empathy destroys relationships, marriages, friendships, parent-child bonds. Without empathy, trust cannot exist. Intimacy fails and safety vanishes. Only one-sided performance and confusion remain. Narcissists can even turn empathy on and off depending on the audience. Publicly, they may appear kind and generous. Privately, without an audience, their cruelty, indifference, and dismissal become clear. This contrast leaves loved ones questioning their sanity, wondering if they imagined kindness or caused the coldness themselves. Predatory manipulation is another sign that a narcissist has gone beyond humanity. It shows they see relationships not as connections but as opportunities for control. Unlike normal persuasion, which may be occasional, their manipulation is constant, calculated, and relentless. People are not individuals with feelings. They are resources, weaknesses to exploit, pawns to move. The narcissist becomes a hunter, searching for insecurities, collecting details to use later. They start small, asking harmless questions that are really designed to gather information. Noticing your insecurities about appearance, career, or past, they store these observations as ammunition. Once vulnerabilities are mapped, manipulation begins, not obviously, but slowly, like a spider weaving a web. Often the victim doesn't realize they are trapped until it feels impossible to escape. A terrifying part of this manipulation is that it often comes disguised as care. The narcissist may act like they understand you better than anyone, like they always know what you need. But this is strategy, not empathy. They build trust only to weaponize it later. Once they know what makes you feel safe, they also know how to make you feel unsafe. Once they know what makes you happy, they know how to crush that happiness. Once they know your deepest wounds, they hold the power to exploit them completely. The third hallmark, pathological deception, shows how deeply they have removed themselves from human morality. Lying is effortless, natural, and constant. They can twist facts, bend reality, and make you doubt your own senses. Truth is irrelevant. Their only goal is maintaining control and self-interest. Emotional cannibalism, the fourth sign, shows how they drain life itself from others. Hope, joy, ambition, they consume all these, leaving emptiness behind. You may think you are helping them, supporting them, or sharing your life. But in reality, they are feeding on you. Lack of conscience, the fifth sign, demonstrates moral death. Betrayal, cruelty, and harm bring no guilt, no reflection, no pause. They can destroy trust, family bonds, or children's lives without hesitation. The human voice that whispers, "This is wrong," is gone. The final proof is dehumanization. Once people are objects, the narcissist is complete. You exist only to serve a purpose. When that purpose ends, so does your value. They have no connection, no shared humanity left. Keep these signs in mind. A narcissist may appear charming, loving, or normal, but behind the mask is something dangerous, empty, and unfailing. Protect your heart, guard your mind, and never let your soul be consumed. They hold the power to reopen old wounds whenever they choose. Victims of this kind of manipulation often describe a strange cycle where they feel both loved and controlled, comforted and suffocated. It's as if the same hand that gives a gift can suddenly close into a fist. What makes this behavior so chilling is the cold calculation behind it. Most people, even when they make mistakes, don't enter relationships with the mind of a predator. They hurt others out of fear, confusion, or weakness, not by design, but for a narcissist who has lost their humanity, manipulation is not an accident. It's a lifestyle, a way of seeing the world, a constant calculation of advantage and control. They think in terms of power, gain, and leverage. They measure every connection by how much influence they can pull from it. When you share a fear, they see an opening. When you talk about a dream, they see a target. And without trust, real connection dies. You begin doubting your own instincts, wondering if you're imagining things or being too sensitive. But that self-doubt is exactly what they want. When you question yourself, you hand them your control. To them, that surrender is victory. This is the moment where their humanity fades completely. They no longer see people as hearts to love or friends to care for. They see them as prey, as objects to use for survival. And once a person starts treating others like prey, the spark of their humanity is gone. Pathological deception is another terrifying sign that a narcissist has crossed the line of normal behavior. For them, lying stops being a choice and becomes a way of life. It becomes the air they breathe, the language they speak, the weapon they use. When truth dies inside someone, their humanity begins to die with it. Most people lie sometimes, usually to avoid shame or conflict, but even then they feel guilt. That small inner whisper that says, "You did wrong." The narcissist at this stage feels nothing. To them, deception is effortless and essential to keeping control. They don't just lie to cover mistakes. They build whole worlds out of lies. Their stories are so convincing that even those closest to them begin to question reality. They make you doubt your memories, your feelings, even your sanity. The danger of pathological lying is how far it spreads. It touches every part of their life, personal, professional, even casual talk with strangers. They lie about success, making themselves appear greater than they are. They lie about failures, erasing them completely as if they never happened. They lie about their motives, dressing manipulation as kindness. They even lie about others, planting doubt to divide people. Gaslighting becomes their sharpest weapon. They don't just deny facts, they attack your ability to see the truth at all. They convince you that what you saw didn't happen, that what you heard wasn't real. This slow erosion of your reality leaves you lost and dependent on them. What makes this behavior so unnatural is the total lack of guilt. A child might blush when lying, an adult might hesitate, but a narcissist who lives in deception feels no conflict. They can look straight into your eyes, speak with charm and confidence, and never flinch. There's no inner struggle between truth and falsehood, only loyalty to the story that gives them power. They weave lie upon lie until the web is too thick to untangle, and when caught, they simply lie again. They change their story instantly, adapting like a machine that calculates new outcomes. Always ready, always one step ahead, always hiding the truth. The damage of this deception is enormous because trust, the base of every bond, collapses. Once trust breaks again and again, fear replaces love. Victims describe feeling trapped in a fog, unable to know what's real, and that's exactly where the narcissist wants them. When truth becomes unclear, control belongs to the one who defines it. Pathological deception is more than dishonesty. It's an attack on reality itself. When truth stops mattering and lies become their natural language, they stop being human. They become predators who live through illusion, not connection. And that illusion leaves nothing but destruction behind. Hearts shattered, minds exhausted, souls drained. Emotional cannibalism is one of the darkest signs of this decay. It reveals a hunger not just for attention, but for the emotional energy of others. Unlike ordinary selfishness, which still leaves something behind, this one leaves people empty. It's the act of feeding on someone's spirit, their hope, and their strength. To the narcissist, people are not partners. They are supplies to feed from. What makes this so frightening is how slowly it happens. They don't always attack openly. They erode you piece by piece. They chip away at your confidence until you barely recognize yourself. Victims often describe feeling completely drained. Every interaction leaves them weaker than before. Healthy relationships fill you with energy. This one steals it. The narcissist feels alive when others feel small and broken. They find safety in the imbalance of power, so they target confidence, attack self, worth, and crush hope. When you achieve something, they downplay it or take the credit. When you're excited about a goal, they fill you with doubt. When you need comfort, they turn cold and distant. Every step of this pattern is meant to starve you emotionally. They make you dependent on them for validation, but they never give it. Their aim isn't to nurture, it's to feed. This slow draining can become so deep that the victim loses their identity. They forget what they want, who they are, and what makes them happy. Their sense of self begins to revolve around the narcissist's approval. But that approval comes rarely, like crumbs tossed to the starving. The less you receive, the harder you work to earn more, and that keeps you trapped in the cycle. The narcissist's power grows every time you shrink. Each tear, each sign of pain proves to them they have control. That control matters more to them than love, respect, or truth. It's what feeds them every day. The difference between emotional cannibalism and cruelty is in its depth. Cruelty may be momentary, but this hunger is constant. They feed on emotion like it's their only source of life. They provoke fights, spread chaos, or cause pain just to get a reaction. Anger, sadness, fear, it all fuels them. Being near such a person feels like being drained from the inside. You feel tense, tired, and hollow, as if your very soul is fading. That's why it feels so inhuman. Healthy connection restores energy and joy. This one drains and destroys. Emotional cannibalism isn't just a character flaw. It's a deep emptiness. It shows what happens when someone trades empathy for control. They stop seeing others as human and start seeing them as tools. They may still smile, charm, and act kind, but it's all a mask. Behind the mask is a void that no praise or success can fill. What they crave isn't love, but total control over emotions, and that hunger eats away at everyone around them. It leaves nothing but exhaustion and despair. The saddest part is they believe this makes them powerful. In reality, it exposes their weakness, their dependence on others' pain. They've traded feeling for domination, and in doing so, they've lost the very thing that makes a person truly alive.